FIDE World Cup, a prestigious event, which consists of a lot of players, has just started. Today was day one. This time around, there are 206 players. The top players are all there. Anand is not playing, but a lot of the other players are there. The top 50 players automatically get a bye in the first round. They go directly to round two. The other players played today's first round. So each match is basically a match between two players, and there are two classical games. If the classical games are tied, then they play games on the third day. So first day one classical, second day second classical game, and third day the tiebreak. Tiebreak is two games of rapid time control, and that's how. So basically 3 days per match, and it's knockout. So if you lose against someone, you're out. If you lose the match, that is. So uh, after the first round, after each round, half of the players get eliminated, right? So that makes it a very exciting format to a tournament to watch. And in this video, I'm going to show you a few highlights from the first round. Normally, you would relate Salem, Grandmaster Salem from UAE, with attacking sort of positions. Here, he's facing a 2-1 rated opponent, and he has got full pressure on c6. But how to break through? He shows us. He plays f3, trying to get his king in, slowly gets his king in. Black is just waiting, because if black moves away, c6 will become problem. A pawn also is weak. So Salem just brings his king even further up, rook c5, and he brings his king to d4. So improvement is done, right, for the king. Now what? Black doesn't want to allow this because then the bishop becomes active. Black plays bishop h7, a big blunder. So what black should have done was just stay active, hold on to the position with bishop e6. Then Salem would still have to improve a little bit and try to break through even more. But he plays bishop h7. And now can you find the move that Salem played here? Of course you can. You can see over here. Yeah. He took. The problem for black is if pawn takes d5, then rook takes back. And if king moves, rook check. And when king moves again, rook takes rook, king takes, and then bishop takes h7. The piece hangs. So here, opponent played bishop take bishop, and that allows rook takes pawn, an intermediate move, and then he takes back. And now with this extra material, which is basically two pawns, Salem went on to convert this advantage. This is from a game by Avanda Lian, a US player. Here, his opponent, who's 2273 rated, played rook g4. What would you do? How would you react? The point being, if you take you lose the rook here. Avanda thought for just a few seconds. He just thought for a few seconds. He had already calculated all this, and he took takes and just king moves. And after king, of course, you can't take here because queen takes back, king moves, and the knight hangs over here. And everything is defended. So king moves, and now just knight comes back. And with his extra material here, 1 pawn advantage, he went on to convert. Jonas became popular after the Global Chess League, where he won the last game for his team to pick up the trophy in a very thrilling match. Here, his opponent has to save his queen, right? The pawn is attacking the queen. Material wise, it is 2 pawns down, but if the queen stays somewhere useful, it's still okay. I mean, king is also not safe, so it looks bad for black. But black does have a good target on c3. This rook is active, and there'll be some weakness here. But opponent plays queen e8. Can you find out why that's a mistake? Bishop takes g7, a simple move that black just overlooked. And after king takes, rook takes, it's just completely winning because rook d7 immediately was also winning. He just brings his queen in. He's not worried about pawn takes g2. The king can't survive if white's pieces come into the game. Rook moves, rook comes in, and finally rook d7 happened. King moves, queen check, king moves, rook check, blocks, takes, and that wins the queen. This is Grandmaster Laurent Fressinet. He was black in this position. He played a very brave move here. He played bishop takes e3, giving up the bishop and getting a rook for a knight. So giving a bishop and knight for a rook. A very risky choice. But here he is counting on the fact that white king is slightly weak. So his rook should be good. His opponent, he played rook c4. His opponent did queen moves. And after check, bishop blocks, queen moves, he exchanged queens as well. And at this moment, rook came to c8. And here, opponent blundered. So position is still completely fine for white because material-wise, it's two pawns and a rook for a bishop and knight, right? Here, opponent should have brought his king in. Then he's fine. But he played rook to d4. The problem with that is after the exchange, okay, if knight takes back, then rook check, and after king moves or bishop block, there's e5. And then when the knight moves, b2 pawn will fall with the rook check. If king is on e2, rook c2 check, and the pawn would fall. And then the black pawn would be too strong. So opponent took with the bishop, but the same problem persists. Rook c2. And now black's rook is better than the bishop and knight, especially because of this pawn becoming passed. And the bishop can't stay on this diagonal. That's a problem. f6, e5, and bishop gets kicked. King moves and f6. King moves, rook takes, and now knight moves e5. And the pawn fell, and Freycinet went on to win this game. This is the most interesting game of all, I would say, today. Eltaj Safarli is basically a pawn up, but it's a rook and knight endgame. Very drawish. He played rook c6, defending his knight, creating space for the king to get in. Now, opponent played rook a1, which is fine. He is stopping the king from going up because then the rook will attack from behind the pawns. Now, king came to f2, sort of inviting me. Now, black played king g5, which is fine. Rook check. Now, the king should have gone back. Then white still will find it difficult to make progress, except by playing g4, which is difficult. But the king came in. Now, can you find out the absolutely brilliant move that white played to go on to win? What is wrong with this active king? What could go wrong? Knight to d2, threatening g3 checkmate in the middle of the board. And now if h4, then just rook check, and if king g5, knight f3, the pawn anyway falls. And that's what happened, something like that. Knight check, check, king moves, takes, and now the h pawn fell. And he slowly pushed his pawns forward and went on to win the game. This was a brilliant game by Sandoz, 2656 rated, against Yang, 2212. In this position, it's a Sicilian opening from black. Here, Sandoz played pawn to g5. All his pieces are ready to launch an attack. It's a brave decision because you're opening a king up as well. Opponent played knight a4 and he kept pushing. Knight comes in, and now can you find out what he played? Not knight takes knight, then bishop takes back or knight takes back, and it's even. g3, a brilliant move. The point being, after knight takes rook, he takes the bishop and then takes the knight. So it's two pieces for the rook, and after knight moves, queen f2 takes. He just continued the attack, basically. White is not able to do anything. Black slowly improves the position, and here he exchanged queens as well, and the two bishops were enough to win the game. Two bishops for a rook. But how does he make progress here? Let's see. He brings a rook back. He goes with the h pawn. And now can you actually sacrifice? No, right? b5 takes stay. Okay, he creates a pass pawn on the queen side. Yeah, and here white resigned. Because if rook b2, you'll just play pawn c3. If rook moves, just rook a2. And the pawn promotes. How will you win this position? This was one of the last games to get over. Ivan Cheparinov has an extra pawn. Right now, the knight went back, so this is a threat. King takes knight is a threat. What's the easiest, cleanest way to win this? What would you do here if you're white? Cheparinov played pawn a5. Basically, sacrificing the knight. If you take, of course, the pawn pushes. The knight is not close enough. The good old a pawn wins against the knight. So king can't take. King is out of the box if he takes. So he takes. Oh, then pawn push, knight check. The knight is able to get in. Okay. But now the h pawn also comes in. Wow, a beautiful win there by white. The knight is forced to stay here, and now the h pawn goes on to win. Wonderful.